Welcome to the Be Your Soul podcast, a semi-monthly podcast about energy, self-growth, and the soul. I'm your host, Sky Bradshaw. Each episode, we will have 3 segments to support the energy of your authentic self: the unclouded heart, opening up space for spirit and the universe to bring forward those nuggets of wisdom rooted in the current episode's topic; skylights, exciting, knowledgeable, and helpful guest interviews. And that's what Sky says, full of exercises, tools, and guidance on how to do the work. Today's topic is interconnectedness, and our guest will be Sallie Ann Glassman of Island of Salvation Botanica and La Source Ancienne Peristyle. Later in the show, you can look forward to helpful tools and exercises to navigate interconnectedness in a healthy way in your life. Let's tune in to opening up space to receive this episode in the healthiest way possible. Allow yourself to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, and in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, invite your body to relax, 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 relax. And as we find ourselves in this relaxed position, we open up our energies to the ancestors, loved ones, and friends to come together today to heal and guide us and lift us to the highest version of ourselves in the light of the universe. So we may hear what we need to hear, know what we need to know, connect how we need to connect, and be what we need to be for our highest and best good and the highest and best good of all involved. Welcome to the Unclouded Heart, spirit messages from the universe. Interconnectedness, what is it? When we think about the states of being connected with each other, it can seem expansive and beyond our reach. But the truth is, all things are energy, and energy is in all things. So as we tap into our oneness with ourselves, we can see how we are a part of the greater universe. The spiritual property 1 + 1 = 3 comes forward. And as we think about that, we can tune into my energy and your energy come together to create a third energy, and so on and so on and so on until we find ourselves connected to the greater whole. One thing that I know for sure, separateness cannot exist in the presence of attentiveness, affection, and deep listening. And if we give that to ourselves as a being on the planet, giving ourselves time and attention, giving ourselves the affection that we deserve, tuning in to the deeper listening, then we can recognize that not only are we an important part of the universe is an important part of us. It allows us to open up our spaces to understanding, like me, this person has had struggle. Like me, this person has been in pain. Like me, this person is only trying their best in the world. And if we can see the interconnectedness of ourselves and others in the universe, and the universe in ourselves, then we can recognize with empathy and compassion that everyone is just doing the best that they can in this moment. That allows us to release self-judgment, to release fear, to release the idea that we must fight against things in order to rise. And it opens us up to tune into what fighting for ourselves, striving for our best self, and tuning into what the best self can be, leaning on that greater energy of the universe. It also makes me think about the idea that the sum is greater than the one. When I can look at others as I look at myself with empathy and compassion, as I realize that alone I am working with finite energy, and together we work with infinite energy, then it gives us access to the greater energies of the world in a way that empowers us and strengthens us to be full and whole and connected and in tune. And thinking of that sum is greater than the one. It allows us to lift our energies up into the ethers, to expand beyond our humanness and our monkey mind, and tap into ancestor messages, universal energy, our intuition in greater ways through that expansiveness of interconnected being. So when you find yourself small, or you find yourself limited, or you find yourself in personal judgment, I urge you to lift up into the universe, into the greater being of space, into the oneness of all things, and find yourself comforted and guided in the support of the greater universal energy. Now that we've opened up our hearts and opened up our minds to the interconnectedness of all things and touched that space of universal source energy, let's keep that flow going as we bring on our guest, Sallie Ann Glassman, and her wise words connecting to the interconnectedness of all things.
Production of the Be Your Soul podcast is made possible in part by Island of Salvation Botanica. A visit to the Island of Salvation Botanica will enlighten you in the rich blend of culture and spiritual traditions that is New Orleans. The shop carries Vodou religious supplies, medicinal herbs, works of art, and more. It's considered to be one of the most authentic Vodou shops in New Orleans by locals and visitors alike. Located in a project co-developed by Sallie Ann Glassman, the New Orleans Healing Center on St. Claude Avenue is only steps away from the French Quarter. And stay tuned, because Sallie Ann Glassman is our guest today on Skylights.
All right, welcome to Skylights. This is the section where I have really awesome guests talking about really great things. And today for our very first guest is Sallie Ann Glassman. She is an award-winning artist, founder of the New Orleans Hope and Heritage Project, founder of the New Orleans Healing Center, owner of Islands of Salvation Botanica, founder of La Source Ancienne Umfo, author of Voodoo Visions, creator and artist for the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot, and in 2005, she completed construction and dedicated the Ashade Meadows peristyle. So one great thing about Sallie Ann is that she also is my friend and mentor, and I love her very much. And so I wanted to bring her on to talk about interconnectedness. And one of the things that I learned from Sallie was that separateness cannot exist in the presence of attention, affection, and deep listening. And when I first started working with her, feeling seen, feeling heard, being heard was really something that I hadn't had before, especially in a spiritual atmosphere. And so it made all the difference in the world in how I could connect with myself and grow myself, and therefore grow as a spiritual being. So welcome, Sallie. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much. I hope I can live up to all of that. I'm kind of intimidated.
You live up to it naturally all the time. So just hearing it out loud, I know can kind of feel a little different from just being it, but you are that, really.
Well, thank you.
So
and I'm overwhelmed by your incredible and ongoing achievements yourself and how you live your truth.
Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot. We're going to talk about interconnectedness, and I thought one of the things that we could bring forward is the important viewpoint or belief that you hold concerning interconnectedness and how all things come together. Like, how do you live that in your world?
Well, when you have that as the basis of your perspective on every minute of every day, the way that you receive other people, the way that you move through the world, the way you relate to yourself really transforms. And I don't think it's something that is just theoretical. So when I say it's something that you believe, it's I'm saying it's something that you live. One of the things I noticed about my mentor, and I know he was yours as well, Edgar Jean-Louis, who was an extraordinary Vodou priest and Ungun in Haiti, was that his beliefs were so embedded in him, in all of his movements and everything that he did, everything he saw, everything he experienced and taught to the world, that there was no separating out his theories, his beliefs from his being and the way that he carried himself. I could walk down a city street with Edgar in New Orleans, and people having no idea who he was would just almost bow down to him because that integration was so complete. He was somebody who was walking and living and breathing and expressing spirit in everything that he did. I see all that is in the world around us as an expression of the divine life force, that intelligent energy, that sacred center of all things. And when you experience the world that way, nothing that happens, nothing that you do, nothing that goes on in the world, as difficult as it might be, is in any way separate from being a divine expression. We may have a hard time experiencing it. We may have a hard time relating to it and feel like it's something extraneous to our well-being. But if you look at every single thing and all that you're experiencing as an expression, some frequency of the divine energy, then that really changes how you go through life. That you don't have to reject any part of yourself. You don't have to condemn yourself. You just have to learn from it and learn to integrate properly and balance in yourself.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And Edgar was and is a driving force in a lot of those things that you were saying. Like, my continued accomplishments really are on his, in his view, in his eyes. So,
and here's just another crazy example of how that expressed. I took Edgar to Walmart for his first experience of the Walmart Superstore. We spent 3 hours in that place, and he picked up pretty much every single item that he came across and expressed his amazement that there was a store that carried all these beautiful, nice things for the Loa, for the spirits of Vodou. And, he'd pick up an iron pot and say, "Oh, they've got this for Ogu. And look over here, these fake flowers are for Freda." It was the most amazing experience. And it wasn't like he was seeing the world through these rose-colored glasses. When we got back out to the parking lot, he said, "I have become an American citizen. I have gone to the Cathedral of Consumerism and I have shopped." That was his response. But if you can see the divine in the middle of Walmart, you've got something really great going on.
And it is a great way to be very present and understand how everything comes together in that way. So how do you think...
it's also a bit dangerous, because if you're seeing the soul of everyone, if you're seeing their potential and their divine being, and they're not able to see that, there's a lot of space between how we see ourselves and how we can be, and how we can be perceived in our highest frequency. And I think it's the job, the work of artists, of musicians, of Mambos and Ungans, priests and priestesses, and Vodou priests and priestesses, ideally throughout all beliefs, to work with that space in between and help the person through the no man's land that separates how they see themselves and how they are called upon to be.
Yeah, that's a deep truth. I feel like we can see other souls very clearly or see our own souls very clearly, but if we don't see who they are as a human on the planet, then we're not starting where they are. And we have to bridge that gap with just compassion and understanding and tuning into that present moment truth connected to the potential truth.
Yeah.
How do you think that others can gain that sense of interconnectedness? How do you think that they can have Edgar's eyes when it comes to Walmart?
I suppose a person could have an epiphany, but I think it takes work and it takes practice more than anything else. Remembering, and like if you're meditating and you're saying to yourself, I'm supposed to be paying attention to my breath, and your brain is going all over the place. You could freak out that your brain is going all over the place, or you could just note it. My brain is going all over the place. Let me go back to the breath. And that begins to reconnect those points. So when you find yourself kind of sleepwalking through your life and not paying attention, or blotting out concerns that, maybe this isn't the right place for me to be or the right way for me to be, and you're just not paying attention, and you start to notice, your body's almost going to tell you that things are messing up. You're walking into walls, you're doing things that are not serving. And you got to pay attention to those things and listen. You spoke about deep hearing. You got to go deep into yourself and ask, what's going on here? What's happening with me? And wait till that deep felt sense expresses itself to you. And then you can start to adjust. Human beings have the ability to self-adjust and self-correct. You might be in midstream and realize you want to be going in a different direction. And you have to be able to practice hearing that, noticing that, paying attention to the signals you're giving yourself, and building belief enough in yourself, in your own worth, that you're willing to make the effort to readjust. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, and a lot of times of bumping your head against the wall.
Yeah, I think consistent, persistent attentiveness to what you're trying to accomplish, like touching it 1,000 times over and over again without judgment, to just reprogram yourself to that awareness, to that truth is important.
It's hard. We're such an impatient species.
It's true. We're also the only self-sabotaging. We're the only self-sabotaging species too.
I guess.
Which is tough.
I sometimes see my dog and my cat self-sabotage. It's interesting. But I do think it's something that doesn't particularly get easier as you go along. The older I get, the better I get at being able to recognize my own nonsense and be able to turn it around, but also the more subtle the challenges become. And every day I have to sit down and do that process of deep listening, of deep hearing, and bringing myself present, feel out my way through it, and feel out the best way to maintain my integrity and truth of myself. What do I actually think and feel here? It's often very confusing. And there are so many external influences, and there's so many distractions, that taking that moment to stop and feel into it, and to get that affirmation from within that, yeah, you want to be going this way, not that way.
Beautiful. So the questions that I'm going to ask every guest are the first one being, what do you think it means to be your soul?
So I will give you an example. When I was initiating in Haiti and going through those 6 days, and I felt stripped of everything that I used to identify myself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I went through a dark night of the soul where I was saying to myself, you are the shabbiest excuse of initiate to ever hit an initiation chamber. Who do you think you are? How pathetic. It just went on and on and on. Really miserable experience of absolute unworthiness in my own mind. And after a while, and after having a long conversation with Edgar that I will never know whether we actually had it or if I was imagining it or dreaming it or having a vision. But after a long conversation, I found myself saying to Spirit, okay, this is me. This is what I've got. These are my strengths and my weaknesses. And do with it what you can. I offer it in service to the greater good. And that allowed me to take up my power because it allowed me to be myself without judgment and without self-condemnation and without minimizing myself and without aggrandizing myself. This was the opposite of ego. This was just, this is who I am. This is what I've been given. And I'm here to serve the greater good. So I think being yourself in your truth is being your soul.
Thank you. That made me tear up. So what's one thing that you do for yourself to get your self-care no matter what?
So I wake up, I'll tell you my morning routine. I wake up with kissing my face and my cat snuggling in bed, and I look out through my window at my view, and I definitely count my blessings. I have always had trouble with a sense of self-worth, so I do the Ho'oponopono meditation for myself, where I'm speaking to my higher self and saying, I love you. I'm sorry for anything in me that's manifesting negatively for you. Please forgive me. Thank you. And then I get up and I do some yoga, and I've done yoga all my life since I was 16 years old. And I do some exercise to keep my physical body as healthy as possible. And it's my Govi jar. It's what I'm traveling the world in. And then I go about my day. And I also end my day with that same meditation. I love you, et cetera, et cetera. It's very hard for me to say. It's been very helpful.
I love that. So when you're centered and balanced, what does that feel like to you? What does being centered and balanced in life feel like to you?
For me, being centered and balanced is, I want to say it is what it is. You're kind of in the zone and not having to define that to yourself. You're just living in it. I go back to Edgar. He just lived from his place of truth and how he saw the world. He didn't judge himself. And so to me, that's the great relief, those moments. And they're really just moments when I feel in balance and in the zone where self-judgment is out the window. It just isn't there. It isn't a dialogue that's going on in my head. It's a moment of, what would be called samadhi, or just that you're just being here.
Amazing. I always feel for me like hitting those sweet spots, like you said, it's almost like you're visiting or crossing, from one chaotic action to the other, and suddenly you find yourself in that sweet center spot where everything feels aligned in a beautiful way. And I try not to chase that, because whenever you chase it, you get more off of it. So like those feelings of like, all right, there it was. Know what that feels like. That's good. Like, here we go again. Know what that feels like. So that's
well, I think for you as well as me, if I'm painting or making an altar, don't know if you can hear my cat who's commenting in the background, or when you're doing your sequin work, something just suspends, and time can go by. You have no idea. You're just not thinking about yourself. You're just being.
Yeah, that's the truth. So is there anything else that you think people should know about interconnectedness, or anything else you want to bring out when it comes to that?
I do think it's an endless concept, and that, the great challenge for humanity right now is to remember our interconnectedness with all things, with the planet, with all other beings, with one another. And that when we're standing back, being perplexed or angered by other people, to remember that they aren't actually separate from us, and that they have their own perspective, and that they're probably doing the best they can too. I think that if we all finally got the message of interconnectedness, there would probably be no more need for the physical in the end. That we would all merge back into the life force. And there's Aida chiming in the background. I guess you can hear her. But I think that effort to constantly practice that belief is extremely challenging and absolutely rewarding. Just recognizing that if somebody is truly aggravating out there in the world, in your everyday life, to stop and give them the benefit of the doubt, to recognize that there's something probably about yourself that you're reacting to, and that you can save yourself a whole lot of grief and rage if you just accepted that they're probably doing the best they can with what they've got, and move on. And I find that all of the theories that I can come up with about myself don't become truly meaningful until they're tested out in the field, we could say. That as you engage with other people, as you engage with the earth, other species, that's when you start to find out just how real or not those beliefs are.
I definitely agree with that. Well, thank you so much for being here, and I am really grateful and honored that you get to be my first guest on this.
I am honored and grateful that I get to be your first guest, and I'm so grateful that you're doing this podcast. Yeah. I think it will be of great help to many, many people. So, and thank you for everything that you do, Sky. You're just amazing.
Oh, well, I second that.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. If you're looking for Sallie Ann Glassman, you can find her at islandofsalvationbotanica.com or on Instagram as well as Facebook. So check her out. She's in New Orleans. Whenever someone asks me what to do in New Orleans, I always say, find Sallie Ann. So that's my advice to all of you. So thank you all for coming. I super appreciate it. May you all be well. May you feel blessed. May you find peace. And may you be whole.
Production of the Be Your Soul podcast is made possible in part by Emerge Skin and Soul, located at 2002 North Elm Street in Greensboro, North Carolina. Emerge Skin and Soul is so much more than just skincare, because you are so much more than just your skin. Emerge believes in offering a skin-to-soul experience, working hand in hand with you to achieve your skincare and self-care goals from the inside out. Offering massage, Reiki, and customized skincare plans, coupled with holistic modalities that bring skin, heart, and whole body into balance and harmony. Visit emergeskinandsoul.com today to learn more and book your appointment. Now for a segment we call That's What Sky Says.
In this segment, I offer tools and guidance that I have found helpful in my practice, and maybe you will too. Today, we are going to work on sensing the interconnectedness of all things without feeling eclipsed or overwhelmed by it. Take a moment to settle into your body. Breathe in, allowing yourself to feel your body where it is right now. Feel the breath flow into your lungs as it fills your body with much needed airflow. As you tune into your physical self through your breath, open up to the emotional and energetic selves as well. Feel fully and be aware of your emotions. Do not attach to them, just notice them and let them course through you. Then open up space to sense your energy, not trying to judge or change, but just bearing witness. If you know your chakras, you can scan them, observing where they are in this moment. Take a few breaths just to be present here, in this space of awareness. Once you feel fully present in yourself, reach out into the room. Observe without taking on the energies of the room. Can you stay neutral while being part of the room without feeling as if you are losing yourself into the room? Stay there for a breath or so, then shift into the building. Can you feel the building connected to the room and the room connected to you? Again, observe this without taking ownership over it. Then move out to sense the neighborhood you are in. Witness the energy of the houses, cats, dogs, birds, flowers, and all other things that make up your neighborhood. As you do, try not to take them on as yours, but see that the house, the room, and you are part of that neighborhood. Then move out into sensing your city, the quietness or the bustle of it, the large buildings and the small, the people, cars, dwellings, stores, animals, happenings, and it all. As you expand into the city, recognize you are part of this, but it does not have to consume you. You can stay present in the original sense of self while also being part of the whole city. Then move out into your state or region, allowing yourself to sense the fullness of all the beings, actions, and energies that make it up. Can you see how the region connects to the city, and the city connects to the neighborhood, and the neighborhood connects to the dwelling, and the dwelling connects to the room, and the room connects to you, all while you are whole and simultaneously connected. Then we shift into your country and how full and whole and immense the energy of it may be, how all these things are connected to it, while also individual and whole within themselves. Then we shift to sensing the feeling of the world and all the energies that make it up. All those places between you and the room, connected all the way to the world. And finally, tuning into the universe and all the immensity that it consists of, all while feeling yourself present in this moment as part of it. Can you feel how your energy and the energy of the universe are connected? Can you sense that you can be a part of it without it overwhelming you or consuming you or eclipsing you? Can you be fully present in yourself while also tuning in to your oneness with all things? Let's just sit here for a moment, being both whole and full within ourselves and whole and full as a part of the universe. Then we can slowly follow our way back from that universal connection, from the worldly connection to the country one, from the country to that of your region, from your region back into your city, from your city into your neighborhood, and your neighborhood into your dwelling, from your dwelling back into the room, and from your room into your chair, and your chair back to yourself. Still whole, still connected, still one with all things. Take a few breaths here, allowing yourself to connect with the universe while being full and whole within yourself. Thanks for joining us today. I feel honored and blessed to connect with you all in this way. May you be well. May you be whole. May you find peace. And may you feel blessed.
Thanks for joining us for this very first episode of the Be Your Soul podcast. This podcast is published on the second and fourth Fridays of each month. We hope you'll like, follow, and comment on your podcast platform and share this podcast with your family and friends. You can stay connected in between episodes. Visit Be Your Soul Sky if you're on Facebook. It's Be Your Soul Podcast on Instagram. And of course, there's more information at our website, beyoursoul.org. This podcast is produced at Muddy Creek Studios.